You don't have a spare pen, do you?
I do. And I'm amplified too.
Having a good day.
But you didn't miss the Ohio State game.
Recording in progress.
The point spread was 55, and I said, I'm gonna stay away from that one, right? They won by 70.
That's on a recording now.
Hot mic. Uh-oh.
Recognizing a quorum, the chair opens the September 8th, 2025 Community Housing Committee. This meeting is being broadcast live and recorded. On the agenda, minutes, Mary?
None. But I would like to recognize Pam. She's on the Zoom.
Yeah, Palm.
Pam, can you hear us?
I can hear.
Great, thank you.
Need to do a roll call to,
I think you're supposed to open by roll call vote if there's somebody remoting in.
Okay. Roll call vote. Opening of the meeting, Palm?
Aye.
Greg?
Here.
Drew?
here.
John here? Deidre?
Here.
Lee?
Yeah.
Okay, so, no minutes, you said?
Nope.
Okay. So old business, Habitat for Humanity neighborhood at 1121 Route 28 South Yarmouth. This is their submittal.
Yep, so they've put in a request for community preservation funds for $180,858. And this is their application to the Community Preservation Committee. So these were due on the 5th. And oh, good, that's a whole packet, great. Hi, Josh.
Good, how are you? I stole.
So I'll just note that Josh Trot just walked in. So anyways, Habitat, this is land that they bought. It's located at 1121 Route 28. It's been before us a couple of times. The Affordable Housing Trust provided almost $500,000 to Habitat for Humanity on Cape Cod to purchase the land. And now they are permitting and getting ready to start work. They've done their budget, and they're looking for $180,000 in addition from the town through the Community Preservation Program. This is an application that would go to the committee. It would then, the committee would then decide if it was advantageous to go forward and decide whether to recommend that to town meeting or not. If they do, if the Community Preservation Committee, votes to recommend it to town meeting, it goes to town meeting for a town meeting vote.
And the price of the project is, for one home is,
For 6 homes,
oh, it's 6
it's
homes.
3.2 million, almost 3.3 million. And so they're looking for a funding request of $180,858. It's in line with previous applications to the town for construction, right? I think she told me it was about 30,000 per unit. Habitat let me know it was about 30,000 per unit.
Mary, is this the final application? I feel like we've seen this before, right?
This is the same project, different application. So this is a funding request. The other one was permission from the state to go forward as a Chapter 40B.
Okay.
Other than this request, are there any changes to this?
No. No, and if,
I looked through the entire thing, and I didn't see anything that struck me as being different from what we've already reviewed in the past.
if there are any substantial changes, so what I think substantial changes, like you add a home or you take a home away, you would come in from Route 28 instead of Wood Road, you radically change the fencing or the landscaping. I would bring that back to you, just, and see what you said and see if it was significant enough to have Habitat come and visit and explain why. But,
I've looked through it too, and I didn't see any changes, yeah. So.
And they're still tracking to begin construction in 2026, right?
They are going to track with when
The
the
sewers.
sewer can accept flushes, so now they're thinking, yep, 27. They think they might be one of the first flushes. So that's
Did you say
what,
one of the first flushes?
so that's what they're aiming for, that
What's the current estimate for the first flush? Date,
2027.
summer, fall, winter,
I
spring?
don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. So this is when sewer projects start to come up against things like back-ordered parts and stuff like that, right? So,
So they haven't been able to squeeze the estimate down? other
no,
than
and it's gonna be
sometimes-
tricky because this is like, people are gonna be buying these houses. So this is gonna keep Habitat busy on scheduling.
So at this point, do we just need to make a motion to approve as submitted?
To recommend approval by the Community Preservation Committee.
Yep.
So we're ready to do that?
Yeah.
So I move that we recommend the Community Preservation Committee would accept this submittal by Habitat for Humanity for this address.
I second it.
Okay, roll call vote, all, Pam,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
John, I, Deirdre,
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, second is Old Business Matakees Utilization Project, 400 Higgins Crawl Road, West Yarmouth, update.
So we had a meeting with the engineer. That is Heather from,
It's on the tip of your tongue, I can
I know.
feel it.
yeah. So I don't know, Jay, if you remember the engineer that's helping Muck.
Well, there's a couple of them. I'm Jay Grandy.
Why don't you come up? Yeah, so this is Jay Grandy. He's our special project manager for economic development. And I think has been working with the Muck committee,
Just started.
just started. So we
Pleasure
did,
to meet you.
Your name again?
Jay Grandy, Grande.
so there was the community workshop, and we had some feedback. The housing people had some feedback for BSC group. So anyways, I talked to other staff members, and we figured it would be a good idea for a couple of representatives from the housing groups to meet with BSC and the town planner, and we did. And it was Myra Sahenich, John Barr from this committee, Bob Rittenauer, who's the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust, myself, the town planner Kathy Williams, Heather from BSC, I think Sharon Weimer was there from the Muck. She's the chair of Muck, and I think it was Jeff from BSC. They zoomed in. So some of our feedback was, that we thought that the details on the types of units presented at the community workshop was too detailed. Remember, there was talk about duplexes, whereas we really didn't have that on our short list. And also, we wanted to make sure that, the housing kind of went where the trust and this committee, the Community Housing Committee, had kind of really cited it in the upper corner, kind of towards the police station. So by the time,
And that housing wasn't an afterthought.
right, and noting that it was a driver of some of the financing for the site, for the infrastructure for the site. So by the time we got to that meeting, I think our comments had been heard and processed. And so I haven't been to a Muck meeting since, but I'm thinking that we're back kind of where we wanted to be. I don't know if,
I thought that meeting went very well. I walked away with a positive feeling about
You climbed up the ladder a couple of rungs.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Well, some of us were absolutely stunned at that meeting and how
The
things were
community
presented. And I was like, what? I want to scream.
Workshop. Yeah, the community workshop. Yeah.
Yes. I wasn't at that particular meeting. I had to be away.
Yeah, Lee couldn't come to the one, the smaller meeting with BSC. I don't know if you have anything to add, Jay, or?
No, I don't have anything to add, other than, I did watch that particular working group, and they do have an upcoming meeting later in the week, but their agenda is not posted yet.
Okay.
But it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds, yeah.
And I thought Bob Rittenauer was very good about how we don't want to drill down too far into the details right now, but just, is it feasible to put these uses there? What's the priority uses? Kind of where they could all fit in, but don't over-design it at this point.
Right.
It's too soon to do that.
And the big unknown being that we don't know what's going to happen with the elementary school over there. And that's a potential, probably 10-year delay to building on that portion of the site. So that, Mary, I think that's being looked at starting in January or December,
Yes, my understanding is
study for the school.
that's correct, that estimated timeframe, yeah.
Yeah. So when do they meet? When does Muck meet?
I believe they're meeting Thursday,
Thursday?
but we can send that, meeting notice once it's published.
Yeah. I might try to go, it depends.
Yeah.
I have an awful lot of night meetings. I try to.
There were some scheduling issues, so I don't know if they've had to adjust their schedule. Yeah.
So I think we're back on track with that, so that was good.
So, new business, proposed Chapter 40B development at 897 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Review and comment on the comprehensive permit application submitted by Acre plus WCI Ray Estate Ventures. We have a lot of materials. Where do you want to start, Mary?
Right, so I'll just try to jog your memory.
Is this the laundromat
Yeah.
site? Yeah.
I remember this very well.
Yes.
What the original proposal had been.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pretty drastic redesign to that.
Yes, yes. So, if you look at this packet that says site plan review, attached to it should be
The site plan review?
packet.
Yeah.
In there should be the letter from the town of Yarmouth,
Yep.
that your comments on the site kind of was incorporated into this. So, so this was in 2023. We had a site visit at 897 Route 28, the laundromat. It was called together by Mass Housing, who's the subsidizing agency for Chapter 40Bs. So this is a Chapter 40B that does not go through the local initiative program, right? Commonly called the Friendly Chapter 40B. This is something that would go directly to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And in 2023, they applied for a project eligibility letter / site eligibility letter, and they were issued that. And also in that packet, after the green letterhead, there's a red one that's Mass Housing. So they were issued a project eligibility letter on October 23rd, 2023, and that's typically good for 2 years. Okay. So, knowing that, right?
So I got this in under the wire.
Right, and keeping it in schedule. So this group has quite a good deal of experience in Chapter 40Bs and has just received a comprehensive permit at a different site, I believe someplace in Sandwich. So they came in almost the next day to see me, to show me these plans. So yes, so they've submitted something formally to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're a public body that can comment on it. If anybody has studied all of these, you'll see that there's a packet. It's an application for comprehensive permit. It's from Acre Plus WCI. It's dated August 25th, 2025. So you have the site plan package, which is pretty recent, August 12th, 2025, with the town letter and the mass housing letter. And then you have the plans. And as Josh noted, it's very different than what was before. And it
Nothing
really
commercial,
helped.
Just residential.
Just residential.
It's right there, right?
And-
Not having anything commercial. Yeah.
Instead of being one built residential building right along Route 28, it's 3 residential units. They're both 3 stories. They're modular units, and they're
They're along Pine Grove Road.
Pine Grove Road instead of along Route 28.
There's a recommendation in there to, let's change the address to Pine Grove Road.
Yeah.
So I headed in that direction, yeah.
And I noticed there's no entrance or exit onto Route 28, right?
Correct.
I like that. As we discussed a little bit on Friday, I'm a fan of smaller buildings and not a one big building. I find that the larger building, the hallways and the common areas, wear and tear is a lot more than in a smaller building.
But I think we've, the number of parking spaces concerns me. It's 1.1 per unit, I believe. And some of these units are 2- and 3-bedroom units. So you can anticipate that they're more than likely going to have more than one car.
That's one of the concerns that I had also, and because I work with the Census Bureau data all the time, I pulled up some numbers that I'll give you, Mary, if you're interested.
Yes, I am.
And it's basically that even one-person households, according to the American Community Survey for the town, even one-person households, 17% of them have 2 cars. And almost all, basically, most people have 2 or more cars. And it's slightly lower for renters, slightly lower for older people, but it's still really, it seems like a really low number of parking spaces. And for the census, I pulled up the census tract that the property is in, and in that census tract, 45% of households, and this is the most walkable part of the town, the census tract that it's in. Even there, 45% of households have 2 or more cars. In the town as a whole, it's 57%. So, Mary, I'll give this to you.
That's great.
And you can ask me for any more details anytime you're interested.
That's really good. Thank you. I will
And I-
pass that in.
All right.
And I think there's also concern about the architectural design of the buildings, the look of the buildings relative to the design guidelines that the town has. And it was interesting because we started looking through this, and I think we commented that it was a triple-decker. And they actually label them as triple-deckers on the drawings themselves, and which is a term more used in Boston and,
City term. It tends to have a negative connotation in a lot of people's minds, too.
Not to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to me either, but to some people
No,
it
but I
does.
mean,
yeah.
it's more,
To
much
me,
more
it
of an
means like
urban.
there's a porch on each floor.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's 3 apartments. Right?
But it brings to mind more of an urban setting than a,
Yeah,
So these are all walk-ups, there's no elevators.
That's right. Believe me, I know.
Okay.
Got my legs and my steps in climbing those stairways.
well,
How many units? I'm sorry, I'm a little out of sync with stuff.
So there's 27. If you go to this, the 11 by 17. One, two,
two buildings with 10 and one building with 7.
it's the fourth page. Looks like this, and it tells you, right on, there's a white square on all the buildings, and it tells you how many units. So building number 1, right on the corner of Route 28 and Pine Grove, has 10 units. The next one, building number 2, has 10, and building number 3 has 7. And it's my understanding through discussion with the project applicant, who, by the way, I did invite, but they weren't able to attend today. It's my understanding that building number 3 has fewer units because that's where the 3-bedroom units are. Some of the plans, I believe it's in this document that has Acre Plus on the front, has the floor plans, and you'll see floor 1, 2, and 3 are a mix of studio, 1-bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and then the very last page of floor plans has an optional 3-bedroom unit. So at least 10, because it's Chapter 40B, the state is most likely going to require at least 10% of the units or 3 units be 3-bedroom. But, it's something they should provide. The ZBA is the mock-up of the floor plan with the 3 bedrooms in it.
there's no idea of what they're going to look like on the outside, right?
yeah.
It's in there.
I haven't found it yet. Yeah.
There's a picture there.
Oh, yeah,
Right in
now I
the
got
middle.
it.
Yeah, they're very,
Kinda typical of the things they're building nowadays.
well, I think it's typical of probably Boston, South Boston,
Yeah,
that kind of thing, but,
not much character,
no.
but it's better than what's there now.
Oh,
That's true.
So if you look in the bottom right of these elevations, it's green stack, or green stacks, right? STAXX. And people have gone on to their website to look at the module units available, and there are some with different rooftops, not quite, the peak that we're looking for, but a little something up there. Because these are this is like an energy producing development, net zero, right? They're going to be producing energy on this site, so they're going to have solar panels on the top. So that's why they need, this is my understanding from the project proponent, is that they need that roof to be flat. But there's some things you can do to kind of break up the top line, so, it just doesn't end like that. So that will probably be one of the comments that will come out of the Department of Community Development.
Do you really need a roof to be flat for solar panels?
I'm not an expert on that.
For a commercial property like this, having a flat access that they can get up to do any repairs or things like that does really reduce the overall cost long-term for maintenance and things like that for solar panels. They don't need ladder trucks and things like that.
But what about snow buildup in the winter? Maybe we don't snow anymore.
20th century stuff.
Well, it was like the one that Kathy Williams, our town planner, picked out. It was like beveled. I don't know exactly how you would know.
What, the roof line?
The roof was still flat,
Yeah,
but it didn't just end. It just
You could do a
Beveled
full
facade
roof
or,
line,
yeah.
so that you had some gables and things and still have a relatively large flat area on the top of the building itself.
And there were, I don't see them here, but those pictures that Mary's referring to were, they did have really some additions of little roof things, and someone else on the planning board said he had seen a picture of one of their Green Stacks modular developments that was even more to our liking, added a little more Cape Cod look to it, because it definitely doesn't look Cape Cod.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm going to ask my favorite question. Are any of these units handicapped accessible?
So, yeah, so it is a good comment from this committee that the architecture from Green Stack should be looked at to kind of soften that roof line?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
all right. Yes, so if you look again at the large plans, sheet C31 is the site layout plan showing the parking. And so there's a handicap parking spot way in the front.
Yeah, the two handicap spots are
Right.
in the worst possible place they could be.
Okay.
Because
Which one of these?
Your handicap
It
spots are
looks,
supposed to be
it's
as
like the
close to the
fourth
main entrance
page of the
building
big
as
set,
possible.
the big plan.
And
Big
the
plan.
way they've
This
shown them
piece
on their
here?
site plan here is
Open
they're
that
as
up.
far away as you can
yeah.
possibly get.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good comment.
Yeah, did I also notice there's bathtubs only on the first floor, and the upper floors don't have bathtubs in the bathrooms?
Handicap.
Looks like
All right,
they
let's
have
put-
like shower stalls.
Well, bathtubs are not handicapped accessible.
No, I know, but I just,
All right, so let's put that in the parking lot for 1 second. So handicap parking.
Bathtubs are handicap accessible. You use a tub seat and you can transfer from a wheelchair to a tub seat. There's always, well, at least from my experience of working in the hotel industry, that we always had a mixture of accessible rooms with bathtubs and some with roll-in showers. And it looked like on the first floor that they were, on the ground floor, they were providing accessible turning spaces in all of the units on the ground floor.
All right, so let's put the parking in the parking lot and go to the floor plan. All right, so this is,
Handicapped accessible too far away.
yep. So if you go to the,
Wait, I would just note, it looks like,
maybe I just didn't see a tub in the floor plans on the upper.
Right, they're showing them as
Yeah, it looks like shower stalls.
shower stalls.
But I'm sorry, I'm not clear. I stay at this inn in Gloucester, which claims to have a handicapped accessible bathroom. And the only thing handicapped accessible is you can turn a wheelchair around it, but you have to climb into a tub. So
Well-
climbing into a tub is not handicapped accessible.
No, you don't climb into the tub, you transfer to a seat that's on top of the tub.
Well, this
You have
place
to get
doesn't
there.
have that,
Well, then they're in violation of,
calling it handicapped
yeah.
accessible.
Yeah.
look at a letter, just like
Okay.
you did.
so, all right, so we want to make sure the handicap parking is as close as possible to the entranceways? Is that,
Yeah, to the entranceways of the two accessible apartments, whatever buildings they may be in.
Well, John, just, you made the comment that according to regulations, handicap parking spaces should be as close as possible to the main entrance of the building, is what, right?
yes.
But it's not the way it's shown here.
And okay, they do show, on the front elevation, they show a ramp on the right-hand side of the elevation that would get somebody in a wheelchair up to the first floor elevation. It looks like there are 2 or 3 risers there.
got it? Yeah.
The materials that they're using are good materials. I mean, they're long-lasting, you know, AZAC and hardy plank and things like that are long-lasting materials, so. But I think the parking is just gonna be a huge issue with I mean, you,
Yeah, we normally want 1.5 per,
yeah.
1.1 is terribly low.
So 1.5 parking spaces per unit.
Yeah.
That's the minimum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any way to put more parking spaces on that.
I mean, I think you could get rid of this little rotary thing and squeeze a few more in, but it's not gonna get you a ton.
I think they have that there for the fire truck.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They have the rubbish and so forth.
Rubbish pickup?
Yes, I can see the enclosure.
Yep.
They'd probably have to reduce the number of units back to, in any way, increase the parking.
And then there was also, there were comments about lack of green space. And you've got 2 and 3 bedroom apartments here where you're going to have children, and there's really no place on the site.
No place for the children to be outside?
Yes. I just see, I guess I see people parking in various places where they're not going to be welcomed.
Yeah, that's what my first thought was too.
And,
But there's not a lot of places for them to park, but
Right.
people do find ways to.
They park
do
on
what
the
they want.
landscaping. Yep.
I'm looking at a sheet that shows handicap parking right beside Building 1 and handicap parking right beside Building 3.
Right. Yep. And John's saying that those are pretty far away from the,
Entrances.
yeah,
Okay.
they're not as close as they could be. So that's a really good comment. I think that we should ask that the accessible units are clearly marked on the footprint, on the floor plans, and are all on the first floor, because there's no elevators.
Right. So the parking, lack of green space, softening of the model.
Wonder how they would defend the idea of just 1.1 parking spaces. They must.
Well, they mentioned in some of the comments that, you know, being adjacent to public transportation, which is true, but the bus system doesn't go everywhere
Right.
that you might need to go, so.
It works at like a
So these are
development
the
that's
entrances,
senior housing,
right?
right?
So that's why parking.
And lower ratio of parking to units works when it's a low-income housing tax credit building, right on public transportation, because you have extremely low households who like to take the bus instead. They don't like to spend their money on a car. So those work, but this is not.
This is not that.
This is 25% affordable, and then they're saying that the rest would serve workforce,
Right.
60% to 120% AMI.
So there's no way to get around it.
So those are workers, so they're going to have cars.
They're going to have more than one car per household, for sure. Most of them.
I think this was the group that at one point talked about the units coming with cars. Remember that a long time ago?
And it's coming with cars.
Like like you wouldn't have a car if you lived
Yeah.
there. You would have like a on-site zip car service.
I see.
Which is great until 2 people want to drive at
I
the
was
same
gonna say, I
time.
can see the fights out, yeah.
you know.
Give me those keys.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was getting at. Is there some kind of outside-of-the-box
Yeah.
thinking, which
Yeah.
that is.
Do they still have zip cars in Boston?
I'm sure it's,
I see
I
blue
think
bikes
so,
everywhere.
but not as many.
Yeah,
I think
kinda
the
went by
blue
the wayside.
bikes and scooters and Uber is everywhere, and, Lyft. So I don't think it's as big as it was. But I know if this was in the city, one space per unit is not a problem at all. They don't want any cars in the city. But yeah, this is worth, I mean, a policeman, nurse, school teacher, can't wait for the bus. They gotta get to work, you know what I mean? So.
and I can pull out the bus schedule to show that, it does run, but it doesn't run
Oh, I quite agree with that. Yeah.
frequently.
It isn't
It doesn't run at night.
nearly extensive enough to replace a car in any way, shape, or form.
So I did a little analysis. I don't know if you noted it when you walked in.
I did.
So I put down all those comments. So what I'd like to do is ask them for a finalized set of floor plans. There's a couple of spots in their narrative, they say 30 parking spots, and their plans show 27. So they should update their plans
Right.
and,
You gotta,
and
get
the
'em on
narrative
that
to
so they're
match,
accurate,
right? They've been a little shy with giving large-scale plans. I think they're supposed to give us 19 sets, I think they gave us 2. So that would have been very handy, for us to be able to look at the large 3-foot by 2-foot. They do talk about year-round and seasonal housing. So I think my recommendation is that,
Year-round and seasonal?
they talk about that in the narrative. I think you should be clear that it should be conditioned on each unit being offered year-round.
I think that's real important. Yeah.
100%.
We have way too much.
It's vital. It's vitally important to have that.
Yeah. That, I already mentioned it, the accessible units are marked on the floor plans to show handicap parking is appropriately located. John, I don't know if you can tell on the plans if laundry facilities are provided or a washer dryer is in each unit. I
It
couldn't,
looks like there's a stackable washer dryer next to the
That's what I
domestic
thought I
hot
saw,
water
yeah.
and all the units.
so I'm going to scratch that and say that they should provide, number 7, provision of appliances such as stove with stovetop, I think it's oven with stovetop, dishwasher, refrigerator, microwave, and washer dryer is supplied. I'd like for them to supply the microwave, because sometimes when the tenant does that, they'll bring in an old jalopy, right? And they're just not safe. They're not safe, so. So the mix of units, there's some good things, right? The mix of units is studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. So we've always been asking people to do studios, so that I think we should give them a shout out for.
Yeah.
I thought too that the floor plans weren't that bad, John, what do
Well, I
you?
think they're pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think we should give them a little bit of
I
a,
think-
the
I think
floor
they,
plans are good.
How do you have different apartments in a building with no interior corridor? I'm not clear on how.
So, I know, I wish that they were here. So if you go to the ground floor plan,
There's so many different ground floor plans.
yeah, I think what happens is you come in, and that dark gray area is kind of like the entranceway,
The vestibule.
right? And then there's stairs. You can't go into the unit on the same floor, but you can go up to the 2 units above you. And that's how they deal with that. So it's not one shared stairwell for 6 units. It's 2 stairwells shared by 3 units each, or 3 floors each, I should say.
There's only 1 unit on the first floor on each side.
Yeah.
Right.
2 bedrooms.
That's,
Yeah.
looks like the 2 bedrooms. The second floor has 2 studios and 2 one-bedrooms.
And then the third floor, I think, has the same, right?
Yeah.
1 bedrooms and two studios.
Yep.
But I think that's where the 3 bedrooms would end up.
Yeah.
But on the third floor?
Make those kids run up the stairs.
Right. Now the mother's carrying the baby
And all those, I know, and all those parents will be having to lug up their groceries. It's,
and their groceries and everything else.
people figure it out.
Triple decker, Yarmouth, Mass.
Yeah, so I thought that what do you think, Josh and Greg? The floor plans, I think, looked
I like
okay?
the floor plans. I mean, I'm looking at the studios right now, and that's a pretty good-sized studio.
Studio, yeah.
It's actually
For a
like-
studio, you still kind of have a living room.
Yeah, it's like a two-room
You almost
apartment.
have a bedroom. Yeah.
And I mean, I did a lot of these in the city, and it was half of that size, you know what I mean? So,
What's the square footage?
that's a decent-sized studio apartment.
What size is it?
554 square feet. So, I mean, it's a little tight, but for a studio, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Studio, it's not bad.
And the one-bedrooms were 665. The 2 and 3 bedrooms are larger by quite a bit of what we require in new construction.
So the studio's 550 something?
550.
Yep, if you look at
That is a
this
good
sheet that I
size.
gave you, there's charts,
Okay,
and
sorry.
I think it's the last page.
Yeah, I see that now.
I tried to pull those out for you. So, right, so the studio on the plans are 544, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so our policy asks for 550, so that's pretty good. It's a pretty good match. 1 bedroom, they're presenting 665. We like to see 700 square feet, so that's pretty good. Now, the 2 bedroom and the 3 bedroom, the 2 bedroom is 1,120 square feet. We're looking for 900, so that's a roomy 2 bedroom. The 3 bedroom,
I believe it's the same size.
Is
It's the same floor space where they take up the whole floor on one side.
so the narrative says 1,086, so I'm asking for them to confirm that.
Narrative says what, 1,080?
1,086?
Oh, there's less
3 bedroom.
stairwell in it, so it might be a little bit bigger than the 2 bedrooms on the first floor. Because
Oh,
there's less
okay.
common space that's taken up.
Yeah. But still, I think it's in the range of what we're looking for.
The 3 bedroom would be smaller than the 2 bedroom?
No, it's a little bit,
Just a smidge bigger, it looks.
just a little bit bigger.
Where do you see that? I can't.
The other
that
thing,
out.
though, that we don't have is, we always talk about some extra storage space for bicycles and things like that.
Yes.
They have bike racks listed in the parking lot, and then there's these utility closets at the entrance of all of the units. They're not big utility closets, but they could be used for some amount of storage. It's not private per unit, but it does exist.
So we should ask about that.
Yeah, I was taking the utility closets to be probably meters and things like that, but
Might be. Then right across there is storage closet.
Storage?
There's storage closet
think you're
and
right
crawl
about
space
meters.
access.
They have that storage closet for storage.
I mean, there's some things you can do. I know in some of the smaller affordable units, the home ownership ones, people buy closets that go right up to the ceiling. Do you know what I mean? That are designed so that, like, we could talk to them a little bit about providing some more built closet inside the unit that has upper shelves, just so people aren't storing things in their hallways.
But the open floor plans really give the units a very efficient layout,
Okay.
and
So we'll just ask them about,
External storage space that anyone will have to store.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Drew, what did you say?
Just that there's no real external storage space for
Right.
people to store extra stuff that
Right.
they might have. They'd have to find another solution for
Not
that.
a lot of external space, period. I mean,
No, there's not.
parking, green space for kids or anything, yeah. Well,
Yeah. And that's another thing, no place for kids outside.
Right. All right, so to go back to my list, I'm going to ask them for the mix of bedrooms for each unit that's shown on their plan, each building. I said no internal corridor. I knew that was a comment to be made that was going to be a positive. It's only 25% affordable, according to our policy. That's a positive. I'm going to ask that they make sure it's deed restricted affordable in perpetuity, right?
It's a good one, yeah.
This one is, the first 25% is affordable to 80% of AMI. They talk about, workforce housing, but they don't really talk about it being a condition of approval
Right.
or deed restricting it. So I didn't know, I was thinking the second 25% would have to be workforce housing. We could approach it one or two ways. The initial lease up, there'd be a preference for those units, those workforce units that you would have to work in Yarmouth
Okay.
to get that unit.
You'd have to work within the
Yeah.
boundaries of Yarmouth.
Yeah, you would, that's how you would qualify for that preference. But you wouldn't have to be income eligible. You know what I mean? You could be any income. I think that's easier. The other way you do it is you say, well, you have to make between 60 and 120% AMI, and that's,
That can still be really tight.
that
to
can be really
afford
tight.
rents.
So I
Yeah.
kind of like the idea of having the first 25% to be those formal affordable units, the next 25% to be workforce, and the initial lease up you have to be a worker
In
in,
this town,
yeah.
So that's the only definition of workforce then, is you have...
There's no legal definition, those are the only two
Wondered,
I've
I
seen,
made a
yeah.
note of that when I was reviewing this, that if there was a legal definition of work.
Yeah, generally, people are talking about restricted to 120% AMI when they say workforce housing.
Okay.
But it's still,
It's still really tight to afford rents nowadays.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
120% of...
So I'd rather try out you have to work in Yarmouth.
Local
I didn't know
preference.
that was a thing that a person, that could be done, put that kind of a restriction on a thing.
You
so
can
with-
ask,
with things
right?
like-
With a lawyer, you can get it in the deed restriction.
With things like local preferences, it's of what they have available to them. So if there's not enough people who are local, they're still going to lease up to somebody else. They're just going to give that first go at
All right,
local preference.
first go, that sounds more,
So if someone moves in who works for the town of Yarmouth and then they leave in a year, then it's no longer local, it's
I-
opened up to whoever.
I would let it go. The property management company starts to pull their hair out if they have to do that forever. And really, most of the people that are gonna wanna, live at this location, they're working here, their kids go to school around here,
I'm not even sure I truly think of local in terms of town boundaries in my
Yeah.
head. Like, if a person lived here who was an RN at the hospital, which is not in the town of Yarmouth, that still seems like a plus
I agree.
for us, for everybody that lives on, just, that's how I think about it. Normally.
So you wanna include in workforce, hospital workers too? People who work for Cape Cod Healthcare?
Just saying, those are people that are very important workers that have a hard time finding a place to live.
Let's try it.
I don't know if that,
Yeah, okay.
ever thought of that kind of wording before, right? Just-
Well, we're leading the way.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll ditch the income. All right,
I'm just talking here. I'm just flapping my gum.
Say local Yarmouth employees and/or healthcare hospital workers.
let's try that out. We could also throw in their municipal employees.
That's kind of what I was trying to
Okay.
think of, just try to encompass like social structure in general.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it would ultimately be the ZBA that would make that final decision, so they might
Then
work
this
that
fire
out.
department responds to fires in Yarmouth, you know what I mean, or the police departments
That's
to
right.
work together,
Even if
so,
we just said
yeah,
police
I
and
mean,
fire,
yeah,
that would be good too, you know, yeah.
I'll say local municipal
I like that.
employees.
Maybe that's the best way to go, yeah.
Okay.
Local municipal.
For the affordable units, do you want local preference for initial lease-up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would apply to 70% of the affordable units. I'd like the town to approve the lottery plan. That's okay with everybody. Sometimes people try to squeeze out of marketing heavily. And I understand, yeah, it's painful to get 400 applications and have to process all of them. We talked about the,
Wait, hold on a second. If you get 400 applications for 40 apartments,
oh yeah, easy.
you have, that I understand, but you have to process all 400 or just
So,
fill the building?
back in the day, you had to have a complete lottery application that had to be certified, okay? Now the state allows you to do a shorter provisional application, where you put down your information, you self-report on your income, you self-report on, you know, your local preference, all of that kind of stuff. And as a lottery person, you assume everything in the application is correct and truthful. Everybody gets a number, right?
Makes sense to me now because it's a lottery, you're not just
Yeah.
going, it's on a wait list where you're going from 1 to
Yes.
40. You're putting it all and
Yeah.
everybody in the hat, right?
So that,
makes sense.
So
And-
I've helped run a couple of these at this point, and so they draw the number of units plus an additional like 10 that are the backups, because they might hit somebody who what they put down was not reality,
Right,
and then they're
right,
out.
of
and
course,
So you pull the next runner up.
And that never happens.
Never.
so, all right, so 16, we'll replace them with your comments. Okay, so then you get to the page where there's some charts. Oh, yeah, we looked at that, you know, the first 25% affordable, the next 25% workforce, and then the remaining 50% would be market rate with no restrictions. Okay. Okay, the next one is about the rent.
Okay. They have 25 affordable, 25 workforce, 75 market rate.
Yeah, I just changed that to 50. I won't make that mistake.
Isn't that up, okay?
Yep. The next chart talks about the rents that they have. So going right down the line, studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. In their narrative, they have for the studio, $1,870, for the 1 bedroom, $2,003 a month, for the 2 bedroom, $2,403 a month, and the 3 bedroom, $2,776 a month. Okay. Also in the narrative, they say that the tenant is going to pay for all electricity. So you can see the next column is the utility allowance, calculated by Housing Assistance Corporation. So you take that maximum rent, you subtract the utility allowance, and then you get the amount that the tenant pays. Okay? So I checked that against our recommendations and our affordable housing standards, and we like to see the maximum rent, including utilities, to equal, to be no more than the federal fair market rate rents. So that's what this column is: tenants rent, town's affordable housing policy, no more than federal fair market rate rents, including utilities. So those are those numbers. 1739 for a studio, 1788 for a 1 bedroom, 2346 for a 2 bedroom, and 2879 for a 3 bedroom. Subtract the same utility allowance as calculated before, and then you have, 1,000.
3-bedroom is actually more.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, yeah.
How is anybody in this world supposed to afford to be able to save up to maybe buy a house?
You can't.
And it's $2,000 for a studio apartment.
Right.
Welcome to my generation.
Right? I mean, it's insane.
That is why I'm on this
It is
committee.
insane.
It is insane. You're absolutely right.
And then I built in a 10% window, because these theoretical numbers, like I run lotteries, they don't work. Half the people that apply for the lottery cannot afford even the barest affordable level. So that's what I'm going to recommend that their initial rent be for the lottery. The studio would be $1,403. The one-bedroom, $1,419. Two-bedroom, $1,863. And the three-bedroom, $2,289. Where the tenant pays for their utilities. And supposedly the utilities are going to be all electric and everything is going to be energy efficient, so.
So if they're paying for their own utilities, that means every single unit has to have their own meter.
Yep. Yep.
So your 10% window means 10% off.
It's 10% off so that, see, when you calculate these numbers, you're looking at the maximum. Well, nobody actually makes the exact maximum. You have to bring it down just a little bit more when you do the lottery. Otherwise, you have to run the lottery again because you set the lottery rent too high.
So what you're seeing in that last column is what people would be committed to pay for.
Their first. And because the other thing is the lottery agent can't put you in one of these units if you're paying more than 30% of your actual income. And if it gets too tight, the only people that can come in here would be people with vouchers. And that's not what we want either. We want, yes, you have a voucher, you can come in, but not every single affordable unit should go to a household with a voucher. It should go to the people that I call the working poor.
Also, if you start taking vouchers, which I'm not against, but I'm saying, that means all of a sudden, if you have someone who lives in Boston with a voucher and says, I'd love to go to live on Cape Cod now, right, then they can come down and get an apartment.
It is.
Depends on the voucher they hold, first of all, so not necessarily
Right, but it's
true.
possible.
But it is possible, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just setting that lottery rent too high is an obstacle to local families getting in there. So if that's good with you, that's the rent I'd like to propose.
So these numbers are today's numbers. When this ever gets up and running in 2 or 3 years down the road, these numbers, well,
It will be high, will be higher.
Yeah, I can put the mathematical formula in there.
higher, you know what I mean?
Well, if a major depression hits, things could be much cheaper.
Well, I think that's the great thing about going off our recommendation for following the Fed fair market rate. You know, that kind of takes it out of our hands. It is what is nationally are we looking at?
The other bit of language that we've used for out years is that they can't raise the rent so that the current tenant, the affordable tenant, pays more than 40% of their actual income.
Is it 30 or 40?
40.
Okay.
Or when they raise the rent, 30 to start.
raise the
but when
rent.
They raise it, inevitably.
And there's no cap on what they can raise the rent after the first person moves in. If they wanted to raise the rent 50%, they could. or
It's
25%.
right. It's 30% of the theoretical 80% household. So it can go up significantly, right? So if we put a provision in there that in out years, when they raise the rent on the affordable units, that household, it's limited to 40% of their actual income. Like, they don't have to lower it to be 40% of the household's actual income, but they can't raise it so much that they cause displacement.
I was going to say, that's what a lot of private landlords do. If they don't like you and they don't want to go through the eviction process, they just double your rent and tell you to,
Yeah.
pay it or leave, so sadly.
Which they could still do for the market rate units,
Right.
but at least we can protect the affordable units.
People going into these units don't have to do first and last, do they?
They probably do, but we have, the Affordable Housing Trust works with Hands of Hope and Hutch to provide those funds. There's lots of little places.
Yeah, there's a lot of little places you can find assistance for that sort of thing.
Yeah. There's like raft. If you're a household on Medicaid, leaving a rehab facility, they'll help you. I'm learning lots of little things are out there because that's been identified for about 10 years as a barrier to getting a year-round unit.
Is
that
RAF
first
still
and last.
around? I thought that was
Yep.
a COVID thing.
Raft is still around.
Okay.
That's doing good.
It has changed significantly, but they're still calling it the same thing and still using the same intake form and everything. What it actually applies to has changed slightly, but the mission's still
But it's
kind of the
still
same.
there, okay.
Yeah.
So if those are all good, I'd love to get a motion in a second to authorize staff to work with the chair to finalize these comments and submit them to the ZBA.
I make the motion to do whatever you just said.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, third.
Okay, have a motion and a second.
Oh, does Pam, I'm sorry, Pam, do you have any comments?
I do. I have like 3.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. Is there supposed to be solar panels on these roofs?
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
It is
So
in one of the packets. I saw the layout.
There's a picture of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if we're going to be very energy efficient, shouldn't we include that in the rent? Like, as opposed to having the tenants pay for it, since we're gonna have solar panels on the roof anyways?
That's a
We're
good
just
point.
basically
That's a good point.
Really good point.
So why don't we ask them?
Double dipping for the landlord a little bit here.
Yeah.
And distributing all the solar credits to the units
Yeah,
evenly
right.
and everything like that. That's a really good point.
All right.
2 is, you remember the apartment buildings we went to go look at maybe a couple months ago?
Yes,
Dennis?
Dennis, right?
Yeah. How they had a basement with storage?
Right?
Yes.
I think they should incorporate storage basements, and to overcome the parking lot, I think they should incorporate some sort of parking lot garage basement thing. If that's possible.
Yeah, that would be a huge
Well, one way to
design,
do it would be to take that back building and make it a 3-story building with parking underneath and storage.
But if you also had parking underneath, it opens up some of the outside space for green space.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are modular buildings, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Modular means they have no
Buildings
basement.
with basements, it'd
They're
be a
built in a
whole
slab.
different thing.
So I've done modular building before. You pour a concrete basement traditionally and then just put the modular house on top of it,
All right.
for the most part. I mean,
Sounds like that there's agreement that we should pass in those 3 comments as well? Okay.
Look, underground parking is very expensive to make
Well,
and
it's not,
maintain,
this wouldn't
right?
be underground parking, it would be, I mean, these are wood frame buildings anyway, so you would frame the outside walls in wood and provide parking on that back building on the first floor with units
Oh, I
above.
got you, okay.
So it's not
gotcha.
going underground to create parking,
gotcha.
which would be
Fewer
prohibitively
units?
expensive. Pardon?
That would mean fewer units altogether.
No, they would still have the same number of units, there'd just be 3-story buildings.
no, they're all 3 stories currently. The one with 7 has the 3 bedrooms, which cuts out 2 of the
Okay.
studio 1 bedrooms.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That is true, yeah.
3 stories is the max.
For chapter 40B? No.
For what we'll get through in this town? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no 4-story buildings in this town?
Not yet.
No.
Yeah, I can hear the abutters now.
Well, look, it's gonna happen someday. Let's be honest, unfortunately, but,
We'll incorporate those comments and
Yep. They're the
have
ones
one
with the, those are the ones with, they're the ones with the engineers, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Pam, did you have a 4th comment?
Yes. So basically, for the studio apartments, maybe we should just assign them. Maybe we should assign parkings for like one parking for studios, and then incorporate 2 for the other ones. I don't know. Something like that.
That's interesting. Right.
Assigned
That, you know, we're going to come to them and say, you don't have enough parking. They're going to have to bring us a solution. One solution is that this unit only comes with one parking spot, and that's it.
So you'd have 45 parking spaces then?
What's the town's space, right? You know, how many people can live in a certain space? Would 2 people be allowed to live in a studio apartment in Yarmouth? That's 550 square feet?
So we have regulations from the Board of Health where they inspect rental units. And depending on the flow that you're allowed, right? Like, are you in zone 1 or zone 2? They have been limiting occupancy to 2 persons per bedroom. So there's some, but not, it's usually connected to something else.
So it's not like 100 square feet
There is
for one
that,
person and then 80 square feet for a second
the
occupancy?
second, right,
A
there's
third?
that.
Yeah, okay.
So that's on a per bedroom basis generally. A bedroom with 75 square feet is for 1 person, 100 square feet is for 2, and an additional 50 square feet for every additional person in that bedroom.
And so usually this applies to rental units, right? But homeownership, there's no real mechanism to inspect them. So it's like a patchwork, that once in a while we come upon a unit that has too much occupancy. And they call in Mary Wagon to try to figure that out. All right, that's really good, Pam. So you have a first and a second, including Palm's 4 comments.
I make a motion to include Palm's comments in the previous motion.
Are you agreeable to that, Lee?
I agree, yes.
Okay.
Roll call vote, Pam?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Drew? Aye. John? Aye. Deirdre?
Aye.
Lee?
I,
Do you want to, Mary, can you summarize the things that we brought up and just send out something
I can,
in an email, just
I can,
check before we?
absolutely. You don't have anything to add, do you, Jay?
No, I like those comments, though, regarding the first level parking. I think that's a creative way to get some additional parking and the storage with the basement versus a slab. I think those are very astute.
Well, they're already looking at doing crawl spaces under the building, so going a couple more feet to do a full basement, you know.
it's crawl spaces.
But for the storage,
Old
it'd
folks crawl
be very
spaces.
positive for the people living there.
Yep.
I'm also going to pass in the information that Deirdre gave us about data on local parking trends.
The storage space, you also get less wear and tear. You know, you're not trying to haul a bicycle up 3 flights of stairs or something like that, so. Okay, next item, reports and actions. Chair's report, I don't have anything. Home consortium.
Yeah, we got a few things here. So, in the last meeting, we were told by Rini, who runs the meetings, that they would be doing an annual report that's called the CAPER. I wrote down what that stands for. Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report. So, there's a public
Meeting on the 15th at 3 PM for that. It's an in-person meeting. And basically, it's, you know, it's a self-report that I know I had to do when I ran the Housing Authority a few times. So there's that. There's also the, right now, I guess, in Congress, they're debating whether to kill home funding or to keep it, and, you know, she's calling it Home 2.0. If they keep it in its home 2.0, it will be streamlined and cut out a lot of red tape. There was also a lot of talk about a project in Brewster, Spring Rock, Millstone Road, being put together by POA and HAC, 45 units, 5 residential buildings, a community building, small wastewater building, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, 80 parking spaces for 45 units, so.
And we had almost 1,000 applicants for that.
Okay, so there you go. I
Was
thought I wrote down what they
was
said.
that
yeah,
Main
okay,
Street?
Millstone Road.
Oh, Millstone Road.
And a bus stop will be created for the site, so. The next meeting is Thursday, the 18th at 9 a.m. And I will say that this last meeting did not break the record of 36 minutes. The previous one, it was only 41 minutes, so they sped right along. That's my report.
All right. Yarmouth Housing Authority?
The next public meeting will be on September 16th at 5:15 at Winslow Gray Road, where the Housing Authority housing is located. That's where the headquarters is. And that's open to the public, and we do hope to meet with our advisors from the Mass Housing Partnership to see how we might go forward with the endless possibility on Forest Road at that time. That is my report.
Affordable Housing Trust?
Okay, the trust meets on the 30th. And we had a little schedule change because one of our trustees couldn't make the 16th, so that's fine. We have invited in the project proponent for 897 Route 28 to come and talk to the trust about the project and hopefully make some improvements on the project. So that's what's going on there. We also have a draft of the short-term rental study, which I haven't even sent to Jay yet. So heads up. And so UMass will be doing a soft launch of the study to the trust, hopefully on September 30th. Get some feedback, what's reasonable for Yarmouth coming out of that study, and then schedule a more formal presentation. Hopefully at a board such as the select board or the planning board or something in a pretty formal presentation. So that study is being conducted by UMass Donahue Institute. Remember, and it was supposed to look at our short-term rental market and identify any negative or positive impacts, and then propose things that would amplify the benefits of short-term rentals, because they are taxed and they do generate tax for our wastewater plans, and also how to mitigate any negative impacts. So, that's the trust.
Planning Board?
Planning Board is continuing to focus on the local comprehensive plan and the zoning amendments that we're bringing to the special town meeting in November. And the public hearings are coming up for the zoning amendments. That's about selling lobsters and parking boats. Those are the two amendments that we've been discussing. And that's coming up on the 17th. And then 2 weeks later, the public hearing on the public comments on the comprehensive plan. And we also discussed this same development at the planning board meeting, and the comments were pretty similar to our comments here about the look of the buildings and the parking. And, well, there was one planning board member who thinks there should only be commercial on Route 28. So we had a lot of different discussions, but nobody else seems to be anti-housing, and so I think
So that's curious to me. Why only commercial?
I'll tell you why. Route 28 was zoned from residential to commercial, and it became a major economic corridor for the town. And places were being knocked down and developed into motels.
So they're
Right.
fearing loss
That was
of tax
40
revenue.
years ago, right? 40, 50 years ago.
See a lot of those buildings now that are
Right? I mean,
dilapidated and
It does not seem to, it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's just an attitude that some people really do
yeah, that's
feel strongly
kind
about.
of what I expected, yeah. So,
That being said, right? Excuse me. We've made a ton of progress because we have an affordable housing trust, right? So there are people who feel if we had a redevelopment authority for economic redevelopment, we could make similar progress. So that's made it to the top 10 for goals for the select board. So.
That is very interesting.
Have you ever worked for a redevelopment authority?
Know what I'm thinking about it right now.
Community Preservation Committee.
Well, I guess our applications were due on the 5th for this coming, process. And I don't know when we meet next, Drew, do you know?
No, we haven't been notified yet by Dawn.
Dawn Marie will look at all the applications, put
emails
packets together
anytime.
first.
Received 10 applications. 4 of them are affordable housing.
Really?
Good.
You know where they're at?
Gosh, 5 are affordable housing.
5. Okay, so we'll learn more once we have our first meeting and go over the applications. We get this big packet. The first year I was on the committee, I was in the middle of this big research project, and I had no idea what I was in for. No idea. Meet once a week forever until you get all this done.
Excuse me.
It was a lot of fun. So,
Department of Community Development.
Okay. So, big news. A new director of community development has been identified. Her name is Megan Eldridge. Thank you. Megan Eldridge. And she now currently works for the town of Harwich, right? And so we expect her to start, I think, October 1st. Soon. So that's big news. She was the director of health for the town of Harwich, and then went over to the town administrator's office. She was the assistant town administrator. So I'm thrilled because I sit in the corridor where one side is ComDev and the other side is health, is the health department, and so I always am going over there about housing stuff for obvious reasons. So I'm really looking forward to working with somebody who has that background.
Okay, upcoming meetings, next meeting is October 20th, 2025 at 2 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock in the hearing room. And any more business?
I have none.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Okay. Roll call vote. Pam?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Drew?
Yes.
John? Aye. Deirdre?
Lee,
Lee? Aye. Okay.
Redevelopment, you said.
Recording stopped.